Hello, hello, hello. I want to thank you all, the people, for joining. This is officially season two, episode one of the Know It All podcast. I'm your host, Clinton Jiggets, aka Quick Jigs. And without further delay, I'd like to get started. So, again, I want to welcome all the listeners to season two, episode one of the Know It All podcast. Again, I'm your gracious host. And today we're going to be diving into a topic that I feel affects many of us, and that's getting stuck in routine and losing our ambition. And that leads me to today's title, which is It's Never Too Late for Another Day One. What I'd like to do is explore how we can break free from the traps of routine and also rediscover our ambition. But before we do, I'd love to share what I found to be a very thought provoking quote with you, which goes, Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I want you to marinate on that as we navigate through today's episode. Without further delay, let's get started. So it's summertime. School is out. The Orioles are kicking a lot of ass. Excuse my language. They're one of the best teams in baseball right now. Many parents are celebrating the opportunity to break free from the routine that is school and all the other associated activities that their kids may have. Pause for the parents who are who children are athletes, because there is no such thing as a break. But nonetheless, a lot of breaking free from that traditional routine that you have throughout the school year. And I mention all this though because something special happens every summer for many, including myself. When you get to this break period that takes you through the routine, takes you away from the routine that you were experiencing every day, that mundane routine of life itself. It's normally one of the few times that you get to come up for air and take a look at the scenery. It's also one of the few times you get an abrupt wake up call that reveals oftentimes where you may be stuck in life, where the routine may have had you trapped, and where you may have lost some of your ambition to achieve more because you were kind of in a form of survival mode. And that leads me to today's first segment, which is the comfort of routine. So, we all know the allure of having a routine. For me, especially, I find that it provides stability, predictability, and also a sense of control of our lives. With so many variables that we can control, having a routine that we can manage gives us a level of control. Waking up at the same time, going through your daily rituals, whether it's the gym or reading or preparing breakfast, drinking coffee, talking to your spouse, whatever the scenario may be, we find solace in this familiar scenario. But sometimes this very same comfort can lead to a very complacent state of being. Routine allows us to operate on autopilot. When I'm preparing lunch for my kids and preparing breakfast and looking at the clock and see what time we gotta get out of the house, I'm not really thinking. I'm just clicking and going. That's where the autopilot's coming in. But it can also make you resistant to change and blind to new opportunities. We become comfortable in our habits, and our ambition takes kind of a backseat. We settle into the monotony of that life cycle, often without even realizing it. However, I believe it's really essential to recognize when we're getting too comfortable and potentially losing sight of our dreams. Falling into the trap of routine is not necessarily a bad thing, as again, it provides stability, it provides structure. However, when it becomes a hindrance to your personal growth and also stifles your ambition, it is truly time to reassess your entire scenario. Time to reconcile the books, figure out where you can strike a balance between the comfort of routine and the need for progress and fulfillment. In the next segment, what I want to do is kind of explore the signs of losing ambition and how to identify if we're caught in this trap. But first, I want to mention that personally, for me, I'm a creature of habit. I thrive in knowing what to expect. If someone tells me we're going somewhere, you can almost most certainly guarantee my next question is going to be when, where, who, how. I want to know all the details. I want to know exactly what to expect so I can mentally prepare myself. And it's always a challenge for me when I have to go more ad hoc, more of a freestyle scenario. And I'm just not the type of person that's to go with the flow type. I greatly admire those who are, but I find that really challenging. But rather you're the person who's good at going with the flow, or you're a person who thrives in routine, it's good to understand that these moments are oftentimes opportunities for growth that ultimately can allow you to expand your bandwidth and do more. And I've found that from my own personal experience as well. So having that expectation and that want, but also being able to navigate when it's not provided is an incredibly important skill. And if you think about it, have you ever emerged from a situation, whether it's a job, a relationship, a task, a journey, whatever it may have been, and realized that somewhere along the way, you lost your focus, you lost your ambition, you lost your way. You became so stuck in the routine of that scenario that it became almost a trap. You were in a closet and didn't even realize it. You were stuck in a room and you were clueless of your reality. I think most of us have, and that's why it's important to develop and refine the skills to recognize the signs of losing ambition, which leads me to our second segment, which is recognizing the signs of losing ambition. So, how do we know we are losing ambition? One telltale sign is a sense of stagnation. We feel stuck in a rut, going through the motions without any excitement or fulfillment. Our days begin to blend together, and not in the good way like it does in that 1 week break between the holidays and the a New Year, when almost everyone I know loses track of their time. But it is truly much more broad and not nearly as enjoyable. It's as if we're running on a treadmill, exerting great effort but not going anywhere. And again, we are clueless of this reality. We think we're progressing, we think we're moving along, and we're really stuck in a stagnant place. Another sign is a desire for change, is an underlying feeling that there must be more to life than our current routine. We may find ourselves yearning for something different, something that's more challenging, something that sparks our passion. This restlessness within us is a clear indication that our ambition has taken a backseat. So it's important to reset and find that balance. I have friends who have shared with me when they've reached this kind of moment that they might take a few steps back from something like social media, or they might remove themselves from a certain routine that maybe they hang out with these friends on this day every month, or they may find somewhere to escape to kind of reset, go somewhere peaceful. Or they might double down in what is their passion and go at it harder than they've gone at it the last several months or even years. But just recognizing that this restlessness within us is a clear indication that our ambition has taken a back seat can be a pivotal moment to your overall success. It's extremely crucial to pay attention to these signs and reflect on our own experiences. You have to ask yourself, are we stuck being mediocre, or are we actively pursuing growth and new challenges? Once you recognize these signs, you will be taking that first step toward breaking free from the confines of routine, and also, most importantly, reclaiming your ambition. And what I would like to do as we imagine recognizing these signs and pursuing our goals and our ambition, I think it's important to know what traps are getting you stuck and how they can hinder our personal and professional development. And what I've found in my experience is self-development and growth can come in many formats. It can be nutrition, it can be fitness, it can be education, it can be relationships, it can be getting certifications to develop skill sets, it can be a whole new career. A lot of times, people in their 40s and 50s finally come to this realization and start a new career. They finally wake up from being stuck in what they thought they had to do to survive to now looking for something that's going to fulfill them through that second half of their lives. I think it's a great accomplishment for those who achieve it much sooner, because they're able to more easily recognize that they're trapped and they're stuck and they want something better. They want something more fulfilling. And it's not always monetary based. Most of the time, it's not monetary based. Most of the time, it's something that I want to enjoy and thrive and grow with. But you have to ask yourself, what happens when we get stuck? And that leads me to the next segment, which is how to understand and see the traps of getting stuck. Take a moment and just think about when we fall into the trap of routine, it can have a lot of positive consequences, but most importantly, negative consequences that we don't recognize or even realize are occurring in real time. We may miss out on opportunities for growth, both personally and professionally, by staying in our comfort zones. What happens when we stay in our comfort zones is we oftentimes limit our ability to explore new interests, to develop new skills, or even take on an exciting challenge. If you consider some examples, think about the person who stays in a dead-end job for years, or I see a lot of videos of people who stayed in marriages for 30 years when the last 18 years were miserable, or people who settle for a more mundane or underutilized skill set because they just want to get through day one and they never pursue their own passions. What I've found is that these stories highlight how getting stuck can hinder our progress, but also prevent us from reaching our full potential. Moreover, being stuck in routine can lead to a loss of creativity, innovation. You become so accustomed to doing things a certain way that we're resistant to change, or the alternative perspectives that may help us even better refine and exercise that skill set that is a lane that we should be in. We miss out on opportunities for growth and just ultimately fail to adapt to a rapidly evolving world. And as all of us know, with the internet and the adoption of social media and so much of the technological evolutions that we've had in the last 30 years, the world has become a very small place, which means the ability to adapt to this ever evolving world is going to be critical to your long-term success. It's extremely essential to break free from these traps and also recognize that there's a vast world beyond our routines. There's an entire different mind state that you could adapt, refine, add to your wheelhouse. But you have to be able to embrace change and step outside of your comfort zones. When we open ourselves up to new experiences, fresh perspectives, and exciting possibilities, you're truly able to explore strategies for embracing change and rediscovering your ambition. So let's talk about it. Moving on, the ability to embrace change and rediscover ambition. And now that we've kind of walked through the traps of getting stuck in routine, it's time to break free and reignite your ambition. So how do we do that? It starts with embracing change and stepping out of our comfort zones. Yes, change can be scary, but it's often necessary for growth and personal development. One strategy for embracing change is to set new goals and challenges for yourself and hold yourself responsible. But don't try to eat the whole pie in one sitting. You cut a slice, you take a fork, you eat it in small bites. A lot of times, especially because I'm really into fitness, I see people set extremely ambitious goals. You know, I'm going to lose 40 pounds in 3 months, or I'm going to become the strongest person. I'm going to improve this lift by tenfold in the next 60 days, or whatever the scenario may be. And they become unrealistic. And once they don't meet their goal, they burn out and they're right back at square one. But if you understand that taking small steps beyond your limits and taking on new challenges can be invigorating to help you to reach your ambitious goals, you'll see great growth in the overall possibilities. Another effective approach is to seek out new experiences and broaden your horizons. This can involve trying new hobbies, exploring different cultures. I find that food and music are the best ways to explore new cultures, but immersing yourself by visiting other countries, other cities, other regions sometimes are completely different cultures. We laugh about it here in the Baltimore area. Is the difference between Baltimore and DC is about 35 minutes, but we're two different worlds in so many different ways from a culture perspective. But if you expose yourself to diverse perspectives and environments, you'll be able to expand your mind and reignite that curiosity and ambition. Additionally, it's crucial to surround yourself with both supportive and like-minded individuals who can inspire us to grow. By building a network of mentors, role models, or even supportive friends, it can provide the encouragement and motivation we need to break free from routine. I know me personally, I love when I see my friends pursue some sort of entrepreneurial venture. And I'm the first to like the post or give them some encouraging words. If I have a friend that is doing anything that is a life shift, I try to be that encouraging friend. And I challenge you to be that encouraging friend. You don't have to know the hows, the whens, the whys. You just want to encourage them to pursue that goal and know that and give them the innate knowledge that they have support and love from those in their circle, starting with you. And once you realize that it's never too late to start over or redefine your ambition, you will realize you have the power to choose a different path, rewrite your story, and create new chapters or even volume two, volume three of your life filled with purpose and fulfillment. And that's what I wanted to talk about as we wrap up this episode, which is day one. There's always time for another day one. Started on my words a bit there, but let's continue. So it's never too late for another day one. The idea of day one encapsulates the belief that it's never too late to start anew. We all know every journey starts with a first step, and I try my best to live by the motto that there's no better day than the present. Whenever you have the eureka moment, the light bulb moment of, I'm going to try this, I'm going to do this, I want to change my life in this way, one of the worst things you can do is to put it off until tomorrow. Give yourself a goal, give yourself a very, very specific timeline to initiate that goal, and then hold yourself responsible to move towards that goal. And when you do this, you take away some of the easy ways to find an out. You don't want to find an out. You want to be able to move down that path towards your goal. But in order to do that, again, you have to hold yourself responsible. Don't depend on anyone else to hold yourself responsible. I think it's good to have a circle that can hold you responsible, but don't put the ownership of your responsibility on someone else. Sometimes I'll see someone make a post, perhaps, and they say, posting this to hold myself responsible that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. A lot of times that particular scenario becomes a trap because what they're really saying is, I don't want to hold myself responsible, so I'm hoping that one of you will check me and keep me on the path. And once someone does not check them or hold them responsible, they more easily fall off than if they were just simply holding themselves responsible. The greatest rapper of all time said, "You let your shit bubble quietly and then you blow." That's Jay-Z. So if you're letting your progression bubble quietly, that means you're not depending on others to hold you responsible. You are there in the trenches, holding yourself responsible on a daily basis. You know about the setbacks, you know about the failures, but you're able to still move forward. And no matter where we are in life, we always have the opportunity to reinvent ourselves, pursue passions, and chase our dreams. Each day is a chance for a fresh start, a chance to take that first step toward a more fulfilling life. And if you look around and just do a couple of simple Google searches, even if not just in your circle, you'll see that stories are abound of individuals who have started over, sometimes in the face of adversity or later in life. I've seen, I can't think of the examples right now where great novelists wrote their first book at 50, or successful entrepreneurs started their successful business when they were in their late 40s, or some people went back to college when they were in their 70s and their 80s. These stories serve as reminders that age, circumstance, or past failures do not define our potential. Again, I want to say that to you. Your age, your circumstance, your past failures do not define your potential. It's our courage, determination, and resilience that shape our journey. So, what I would like to do is encourage you to be you, to achieve your goals, to reflect on your own life, and ask yourself, are you feeling stuck in routine? Have you lost sight of your ambitions? If you have, remember, it's never too late for another day one. So seize this moment to redefine your goals, take that first step, and embark on a new path towards personal growth and fulfillment. And with that, we are wrapping up episode 1, season 2 of the Know It All podcast. My first hope is that this episode has provided you with some valuable insights. Hopefully you're listening on your way to work, or maybe you're on the treadmill, or maybe you're sitting on the sofa. I ask you to share it, to comment, to subscribe, but always remember that you can be your own inspiration to break free from routine and rediscover your ambition. So until next time, thank you very much for listening. And as your host, Quick Jigs, I invite you to come back next week, every Wednesday. And always remember, make it a great day on purpose.